battlers, and today we're going to be going over COISABEAST757's Nightfall Cup sweep, massive 4-0, so yeah, let's jump into it and see how he did it. As I said before, this is a 4-0 run, and CO's team at the bottom here is a fairly meta line with Galarian Stunfisk, Gallade, Venusaur, Wigglytuff, Froslass and Medicham. If you saw my meta simplified infographic, which is linked up there, you'll see that this covers all of the groups. You've got G-Fisk is that just hard rock and ground dude, you've got Gallade as a pseudo fighter, and then also Medicham is the fighter, where Gallade can kind of also act as an anti-fighter in a way. You've got Venusaur to cover that grass coverage instead of like a Shadow Victreebel, Wigglytuff just charm, destroying fighters and the like, and then also Froslass to cover that ice damage and is number 1 on PV pokes. But with that said, let's look at round 1. So round 1 up against Joe Unica Chell01, who's got Froslass, Scrafty, Galarian Stunfisk, Swampert, Shadow Victreebel and Noctowl. So Noctowl's an interesting one that I haven't really seen much about. I said in the meta video, I'm not a huge fan of the flyers in this cup. I think that CO has a lot of stuff to be able to cover this. So quick reminder to subscribe for the daily content coming in December. And yeah, let's jump into the battles. And we are also testing out these images on the side just for this first battle, so let me know what you think and we might kind of put them in future videos. But Medicham versus Scrafty lead is absolutely fantastic for the Medicham. That counter will be doing super effective to the Scrafty, so the opponent swaps out into Froslass and CO is able to swap into the Wigglytuff. Wigglytuff's in a really good spot here. It's going to have to burn one shield to be able to, it can tank one avalanche, but then it's going to have to shield the next avalanche to be able to take out the Froslass, and Froslass doesn't have to burn any shields because Wigglytuff isn't going to be throwing any charge moves, it's just going to be charming all the way down. So CO does burn that one shield and is going to be able to charm down at this point. Froslass would have been like just on that avalanche, but unfortunately just not ready, and Wigglytuff going to be able to throw a charge move onto whatever comes in. Here's the Scrafty, which is going to take so much damage from those charms. The one charm that did sneak through before it went down. Wasn't able to get the charge move off on the Wigglytuff's end, which is a little unfortunate. Would have been able to burn a shield, but is able to bring the Medicham back in regardless. Went for the power up punch, maybe trying to hope for like a shielded foul play or something, because foul play is going to do a little bit more than like a power up punch, just because Medicham has that psychic typing. But now swapping into Noctowl, and this is just not great for the opponent, because not only did CO have Ice Punch on that Medicham, which can do a little bit, but he also had Stunfisk in the back. Stunfisk really just going to be walling this Noctowl, who is throwing that psychic. I guess psychic does have that chance to debuff the opponent, right? So maybe you can like sneak a debuff onto the Stunfisk, but getting that Rock Slide off. Only needs one more Rock Slide to take out this Noctowl, so probably just going to farm up to 2 Rock Slides so that he has the maximum amount of energy, can throw 1 Rock Slide to get rid of the Noctowl, and then can probably just Earthquake the Scrafty in the back, just because, Scrafty's going to be able to farm up energy on this Stunfisk a little bit. I don't think that CO is in much danger here. Looks like that was a visual bug, and the Noctowl did faint there, because the opponent's only got 1 Pokeball like left in the top right, so does land the Earthquake, down goes the Scrafty, and that is battle 1. So going into battle 2 with Wigglytuff in the lead now, landing in against that Froslass, so getting another fantastic lead. I'll see if the opponent ends up swapping out or just maybe tries to go for an avalanche, burn 1 shield, and then yeah, we'll see where we go from there. Might have been a little bit of lag, not really sure what was going on there, but gets the first avalanche through, no shield. A CO again, knowing that he's going to be able to take out this Froslass just by burning 1 shield, so probably going to burn 1 here. Oh no, letting it go down, so going to bring something else to farm down the Froslass. Got Stunfisk and Medicham in the back. Medicham is a really interesting option here, because those counters not doing much damage at all to the Froslass, and that kind of means it's going to be able to get like a lot of energy by burning that 1 shield to throw onto the next Pokemon. So we'll see if it does do well for him. In comes that Noctowl, so he's going to be taking super effective damage from the quick moves from the Noctowl, but we'll see how much energy, like how much damage this energy can stack onto that Noctowl. Because Noctowl is so tanky, the charge moves don't do heaps and heaps, but they're definitely going to be adding up here with how much energy Medicham has. Burning the first shield off of Noctowl, and now swapping to the Stunfisk, and in comes the opposing Stunfisk in the back. So CO has the energy advantage here, hoping that this Earthquake gets through, calls the shield bait, lets the Earthquake go through. That is definitely going to hurt the opponent there. And now is CO going to shield in return? Yeah, he's going to do that because he wants to keep the Stunfisk around for the Noctowl. Got baited though, but unfortunately for the opponent, did not work out and wasn't able to get to an Earthquake anyway. So really must have been close there, but definitely unfortunate. Going to be able to throw these Rock Slides at the Noctowl now. As we saw before, Noctowl really isn't going to be able to do that much to the Stunfisk. So yeah, this is just a matter of getting the Rock Slides through to take out the Noctowl. And then that is going to be GG's. 1, boom, 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 and Noctowl not quite done. Couple more mud shots, or maybe swapping to Medicham to make this quicker, counter down. Going for the charge move, sick of these mud shots. Finally, Noctowl is going to go down now, and CO is taking round 1 But going into game 3 with a different lead, and this time a not a good lead for CO with Venusaur versus Noctowl. Needs to swap out of there straight away, goes to the Medicham, which is kind of like, you know, it's not the hard counter Stunfisk, because I think he was hoping to be able to land that Stunfisk up against the Noctowl later on. So after a bit of energy generation on the Noctowl, swaps into the Swampert, and this isn't like a great matchup for kind of either party. Does get a shield from the Ice Punch though, which is a fantastic deal for CO, and then shielding up this Hydro Cannon. Probably going to go for the Dynamic Punch now. It's got it ready to go. Going to do a nice chunk of damage onto that Swampert, because Swampert is not very tanky. Pretty squishy there, almost fainted. One more counter and is going to go down. Does CO burn the shield? No shield on this Hydro Cannon coming through, so you're going to tank it. And he's going to be able to get that last counter through. And then maybe Noctowl comes in and farms the rest of the Medicham, gets some nice energy stored up, in which case it would be great for CO, because he would be able to bring in that Galarian Stunfisk. Yep. Going to be able to get this Ice Punch off before going down, which is just a nice little bonus. And it's now going to be able to bring in the Galarian Stunfisk to the switch-locked Noctowl. It's not going to be switch-locked for too much longer, but it's going to be switch-locked for now. And then I'm not sure he's going to be able to get to a Rock Slide, but going to be able to, you know, put the Pokemon in the right spot. Doesn't have to have that Venusaur up against the Noctowl now. Obviously, the opponent has used their Swampert now, swapping into the Scrafty. So bring in the Venusaur. This is Venusaur's time to shine. It's not going to be like, it's not a great counter to Scrafty by any means. Like it's not a Wigglytuff, for example, but it is going to do a nice bit of damage. That foul play really adding up though. So CO over farming here, and I think that was a bit too aggressive, unless he like intended to burn the shield, because there was no way that he was going to get to 2 Frenzy Plants beforehand. Actually, perhaps letting the Scrafty farm Venusaur's health right down so that the Noctowl can't farm up too much energy, which is actually a really good play there. 1 Frenzy Plant doesn't quite take out the Scrafty, 1 more Vine Whip, and now going to be able to get this Sludge Bomb onto the Noctowl, plus not going to be able to farm up too much of the Venusaur. So actually fantastic play from CO here. 1, 2, 3 quick moves and down it goes. In comes the Stunfisk, has the Rock Slide ready, and this is going to take out Noctowl and take out round 1 for COISABEAST. So going into round 2 up against Birdwatcher Hawk, who's got Noctowl, Gallade, Swampert, Froslass, Shadow Machamp, and Shadow Victreebel, double Shadow straight from GBL, and also using Noctowl, which I still think is a really interesting pick, but definitely got some coverage here. And yeah, I'm not CO, so let's jump into the battles. And as I said before, I was only putting those images on the first one. Obviously in the future I can put on like both teams and stuff like every round, but let me know what you think, if it's kind of worth doing. I probably need to figure out the graphics and whatnot in a more like easy to consume manner. But yeah, let's get into the round 2 battles. Catching the Noctowl, not great to see, but we did see CO come back from this exact lead scenario in that last game, switching into the Wigglytuff and also has Medicham in the back. This is not a good matchup for Wigglytuff to be in up against the Shadow Victreebel, because that poison typing is going to be resisting the charms a bit. And then yeah, just Raise Leafs, so much damage coming from that Shadow Victreebel. And CO doesn't really have a great answer to bring in here. Bringing in the Medicham is going to be able to get to some Ice Punches, which is going to take it out. But, you know, Venusaur would kind of be okay. Leaf Tornado, not going to do much damage and doesn't get the attack debuff. Medicham definitely a little bit weaker here, and in comes that Noctowl. So interesting, the opponent bringing in the Noctowl instead of leaving the Noctowl for the Venusaur later on. So maybe they've got something else in the back that is weak to that Medicham, or just something that does, like, you know, also good against that Venusaur. So going for the Ice Punch now, just putting on that pressure onto the Noctowl. Again, Noctowl, super tanky, does burn that shield though, and then he's going to swap out into Machamp of the Shadow variety. So, you know, it's not going to do great up against Medicham, and it is going to take a fair bit of damage from this Ice Punch, just because it is that Shadow. Now swapping it into the Venusaur, maybe keeping that Medicham for a safe swap later on, like a third sacrificial shield. Shielding up the Rock Slide though, and hopefully not going to be able to Vine Whip down before another charge move comes through. Yeah, here it comes, and it is going to hurt if it is that Rock Slide. You know, hope maybe it's just a cross chop. It is the Rock Slide, and ouch, down it goes, and Medicham going down, so losing game 1. So keeping the strategy with Venusaur in the lead, but Birdwatcher did swap into the Shadow Victreebel lead, and this is good for Venusaur. So swapping straight into that Noctowl, and CO has the Stunfisk, and we're also going to see Shiny Gallade for the first time gracing the halls of these battles. So, you know, again, Stunfisk is in a fantastic spot here. It is a little bit of a long battle, just because, you know, Stunfisk isn't doing too much damage. Noctowl is pretty bulky, so it does take a while. Neither of these charge moves are doing excessive amounts, so it is a bit of a slog through. You know, maybe I could like speed up these parts of the battle specifically, but yeah, just going to go through it, and then I will see the Shadow Victory Bell, maybe try and get some energy on the Stunfisk. But as I went over in that meta video, again, Shadow Victory Bell really does super well with shields, so you don't want to leave it too close to the end of the battle unless you're holding onto the shield specifically for it. So that Rock Slide does take it out, and in comes the Shadow Machamp. So getting this Rock Slide off before going down, which is kind of just a nice to have. It's not like a devastating blow, but you know, any damage is good damage. And now swapping into Gallade, 2 confusions almost takes it out. 1 more confusion to go. That Shadow Machamp is not loving those confusions. Gets the Rock Slide off and gets the shield, and then Shadow Victory Bell in the back, also going to be taking massive damage from these confusions. Unfortunately for Gallade, Gallade does, in the lead scenario, like even shields, even health, it ties, just because that Shadow Razor Leaf is doing so much damage, and it turns out that we're going to see a tie here as well. So it is now 1-1, this is the decided game for round 2, and we've got Stunfisk up against Gallade. And this is kind of an iffy matchup. Gallade can sometimes do well if it lands the close combat, but sometimes it does also like kind of want the back-to-back close combat at the end. So we'll see kind of what moves get through, what happens here. Goes for the close combat straight away, and it gets shielded, which is really not what you want to see, because that Gallade is now going to be debuffed, and is just going to be worse for wear in this matchup. So letting the Earthquake come through as well. Oh, that is devastating for Birdwatch or Hawk. Maybe they just wanted to let it go after like successfully, unsuccessfully getting the close combat through, like debuffing themselves, shielding with the Rock Slide from the Galarian Stunfisk. This isn't a great matchup for the Froslass, which is making me think that Noctowl is probably in the back, just because it'd be a little bit worse. Avalanche does go through and does a nice chunk of damage, going for another Rock Slide, and probably going to see another shield come out from that Froslass, because Froslass is a bit of an asset here. Really want to hold on to that. CO now swapping into Froslass of his own, and because he still has a shield and the opponent doesn't have that much of an energy advantage, going to be able to shield up this charge move no matter what it was, and then going to be able to get the Shadow Ball to KO. Oh, but a swap out into Noctowl to try and catch the Shadow Ball, which would have been huge, but CO was ready for the swap, going for the Avalanche now, which is almost going to take out the Noctowl. Going to be able to have to, is able to farm down the Noctowl. I did not think that was going to go through, but now has the energy ready to go to throw the Shadow Ball, and is still going to be able to take out that Froslass, and that is GG's on round 2. Going into round 3 here, up against Santi Pessa, who's got Galarian Stunfisk, Swampert, Venomoth, Venusaur, Linoone, and Froslass. Now, Linoone is one that I kind of thought about, but I'm not a huge fan of it in this cup. I feel like it doesn't do a lot of stuff, and it can get pretty hard countered. Venomoth is another interesting one, because it's another confusion use that isn't at Gallade, so I'll see if we do see that today, because CO is running that Venusaur with that poison typing, so yeah, let's see how it goes. Going in with a Galarian Stunfisk lead up against the Venusaur, which is not a great matchup for either party. It could go either way depending on IVs. Really high IV Venusaurs are going to be able to take out this matchup up against the Stunfisk, so we'll just have to wait and see how it does play out, who goes for what. So going for the Frenzy Plant does do so much damage, and now going straight for the Earthquake here. We'll see if it does end up going through. It does go through, doing so much damage to that Venusaur, and now swapping into Froslass to farm down. Unfortunately for CO, just one quick move short. Has to shoot up the Frenzy Plant now. Oh, so close to taking down the Venusaur, and actually swapping out into Swampert, which is an interesting tactic. Obviously, it does kind of deny Froslass getting 1 extra Powder Snow, but it also keeps an option for that 3rd shield chance. But also, like, you've now switch locked that Swampert in, so I guess this Froslass would have to go down for Venusaur to come back in, letting the Avalanche go through. So really bringing that Swampert low here. Maybe just really confident with being able to hang on and get this Hydro Cannon off, burning the last shield off of CO. The opponent still got 1 shield here, and he's able to get another charge move off before going down. Doesn't quite take out the Froslass, so Froslass pretty low here, and the opponent again still does have that 1 shield, so this could go either way. In comes Froslass, can be able to farm down, and you really hate to see a Froslass with energy, especially when you don't have a shield and they do. It's really bad for CO here. He's going to be able to get this Rock Slide off, so maybe they can pull something off with like completely sacrificing their Gallade, catching a charge move, and then it's looking rough to say the least. He tries to go for the Rock Slide, but Froslass, so much energy now, throwing 1 Avalanche to get rid of the Stunfisk. In comes that Gallade, and yeah, it's GG's at this point. There's just not much that CO could do. Goes for the Avalanche, could have gone for the Shadow Ball to confirm, like to guarantee the win. I'm actually wondering, ooh, remember that whole catching the charge move on that 3rd shield? I need to give this opponent so much more credit, because oh dang, that went well. That was really impressive. But going into game 2 now with a Venusaur mirror match, the opponent got a clone Venusaur going on, and CO running that regular So we'll kind of see who's got the CMP tie, who goes for some Frenzy Plant baits, just see how it does play out. So CO going straight for that Sludge Bomb, no funny business, and it does go through. So doing a nice chunk of damage. The opponent looked like they're farming. I was wondering if maybe they were going to just farm up heaps and then ditch, but throwing the Sludge Bomb now, and it does also go unshielded. So probably just going to go straight for the Frenzy Plant here, just really put that pressure onto the opposing Venusaur. We'll see if his shield does come up. No shield, letting it... Oh, it hangs on by a sliver. Never mind. Is CO going to shield here? Doesn't shield and hangs on by a bit more of a sliver. So maybe a little bit better IVs there. And now swapping out into Froslass, trying to pull off the same maneuver the opponent did in the last match with the 1 HP Venusaur, maybe coming in clutch later in the match. We'll see how it does. I've got my fingers crossed here. So going for the Shadow Ball straight away, and it does get shielded. We'll see if some Avalanche kind of baits come in here to try and save a whole bunch of energy. Oh, it's a Crunch. When is the last time you've seen a Froslass with Crunch? That is insane. I'm really interested by the opposing moveset now. That is ridiculous. Going for another Crunch here, getting able to take out this Froslass. CEO probably just sitting here in awe going, what was that? Brings in the Medicham now, and this is really not great. We'll see how he does end up coming out of this one. Goes to the Avalanche, and it does get shielded up. And now swapping into Linoone. I'm not sure if that was the best play. Venusaur versus Froslass, which is kind of, I guess, CO's only chance is getting a shield bait here. I guess Linoone was here to burn a bunch of energy from the Medicham, which I guess it did. And now, yeah, it's up to Medicham just throwing a whole bunch of energy. Dynamic Punch does still do a fair chunk just because Froslass isn't super bulky. Like that actually does, that did way more than I thought it was. That's almost going to take it out here. Going to be able to burn the shield, and then can Medicham just get one more counter and take a Froslass out? It's got a Ghost type. I am surprised. But shows what I know, I guess. That is why COISABEAST is the one who is sweeping here, being a true beast. So Venusaur up against that Linoone, and we'll see if Linoone can kind of do something other than eat up Medicham's energy this time, going straight for that Frenzy Plant. Linoone's also got a lot of movesets going on. It could have Dig, it could have Grass Knot, it could have Thunder. Tanks that first Frenzy Plant and just farming up energy. That's so much fun. Maybe trying to catch the Frenzy Plant onto this opposing Venusaur, but unfortunately, CO again holding off, not just going to fire straight away, and gets the Sludge Bomb shielded up. In comes the Medicham. Ice Punches are going to be threatening, but so are the Frenzy Plant. So Medicham shielding for the first charge move here. It is the Frenzy Plant. And then yeah, here's the farming up a little one counter extra, and now going for the Ice Punch. We'll see what happens shield wise. Let's go through. Only one more Ice Punch needed to take this thing out. Kind of getting close-ish to be able to counter down. I'm kind of wondering if Medicham can kind of just shield and then counter, but letting the Frenzy Plant come through. And is going to be able to get this Ice Punch off regardless, so probably happy to let Medicham go if the opponent decides to shield anyway. Doesn't shield it, so lets it go, and then going to be bringing Froslass. Froslass farming up energy. Again, Froslass with energy can be so dangerous, but here comes the Galarian Stunfisk. So Froslass is going to be able to get this charge move off before a Rock Slide comes through. So Avalanche does do a fair chunk, can't tank two of those things. Tried to catch the Rock Slide onto the Linoone, but again, CO not throwing straight away when he knows he doesn't have to. Shielding up the Grass Knot and then swapping into Venusaur to get some energy, and actually eating up more of that Linoone's energy. It did charge up so much energy at the start of this battle. Tanks the Grass Knot and is going to be able to throw a Frenzy Plant at this Froslass coming in, which really is going to put some pressure on it. It's kind of forcing the last shield from the Froslass here, or else really playing with fire, or I guess playing with grass. Yeah, it does shield there. And Froslass farming up energy here. That's a lot of energy on Froslass's end, but the Rock Slide, it's ready. Galarian Stunfisk needs to survive this charge move to throw the Rock Slide, and it does. Hanging on with that sliver of HP, getting the Rock Slide off, and this is going to be able to take out that Froslass, and that is GG's on round 3. Going into round 4 up against Dresner, who is the only other player 3-0 in this tournament, who's got Galarian Stunfisk, Swampert, Venusaur, Toxicroak, Lapras, and Gallade. Lapras is a really interesting one because it's another bulky option, and that's kind of what we've been seeing across all of these teams. They've kind of got like a bit of bulk to just kind of bolster it down, kind of like the Noctows, the Laprases for example. Toxicroak is another interesting one that can do a lot of stuff if it gets into the right spot. So how about we see how the finals go? Going in with a Venusaur lead up against Galarian Stunfisk, and as I said before, it could be an IV thing, so we'll just see how it plays out in the end. There's really no knowing without knowing both of the IVs and assuming that the game is like running perfectly. So yeah, Frenzy Plant going through and does get shielded up, and we'll see if the Stunfisk goes for a Rock Slide or an Earthquake, if he gets shielded or not shielded. Lots of decisions to make in these finals. So come through, and it is the Rock Slide. Letting it come through, not as devastating as the Earthquake at all, but actually had the back-to-back Rock Slide. This still wouldn't take out the Venusaur, so CO actually decides to tank it here. Going to be able to get another Frenzy Plant off before the Stunfisk is able to take it out. This isn't going to do like, it's not going to take out the Galarian Stunfisk by any means. It does do a nice chunk of damage, but Venusaur is definitely going to lose this fight now. Yeah, not able to get to that last Frenzy Plant, unfortunately. In comes a Medicham, and yeah, Galarian Stunfisk getting a charge move off. Is it an Earthquake? Yeah, it is the Earthquake. Gets shielded up correctly, and Medicham going to be able to farm down this Stunfisk, getting some energy ready to go into the next matchup. I mean, we'll wait and see what it is. Could be like, you know, I'm kind of thinking maybe it's a Lapras, but in comes a Venusaur. Venusaur going to be able to taking in some nice damage from the Ice Punches. When I said Lapras, I mean like that I was then going to say that it's bad. But yeah, we'll see if we see Lapras here. In comes the Froslass though. Again, Froslass is going to be taking a fair chunk of damage from those Frenzy Plants, so really has to shield here. And I guess hoping that it's able to Powder Snow down before another one comes through. Is able to. And then in the back is the Gallade. And the opponent actually does stop tapping here. COISABEAST let me know that that was just because they knew that the jig was up, the game was over at this point. Yeah, Gallade just wouldn't have been able to do anything there, even burning the shield. Going in with Froslass up against the Galarian Stunfisk, and this is not a good matchup for CO at all. So swapping into that Venusaur straight away. Again, we saw that this was going to be a losing matchup for the Venusaur, so we'll kind of see if the opponent does end up swapping out. Gonna let this first charge move comes through, and it is the Earthquake, which does so much damage. Farming up to 2 Frenzy Plants and then gonna throw one. I think it's 1 Vine Whip short of the 2 Frenzy Plants, so not quite there. Getting this one off though, and we'll see if it goes unshielded. Yeah, let's go through because he knows he can tank it. And Stunfisk gets a charge move off before Venusaur is able to get the Frenzy Plant. CO letting it go down and gonna bring in the Medicham to farm down, but in comes that Venusaur, and yes, CO, because he swapped initially, is switch locked for a little bit longer, so pretty much only has to throw this Ice Punch and then is almost going to be ready to go to swap into the Froslass. Yeah, swaps in now and going to try and farm down. Probably going to burn 1 shield and just Powder Snow down, have a whole lot of energy to go into the next matchup. Yeah, Frenzy Plant gets shielded. 1 more Powder, 2 more Powder. Oh, gets 2 Frenzy Plants off. The move that CO was not able to accomplish himself, having to burn both shields now. The opponent at a 2-0 shield advantage. We'll see if CO can come back from this one, but yeah, what's coming in? It's the Froslass. Oh, the Gallade, sorry. Gallade is going to be taking a lot of damage from this Avalanche, so really has to shield to be able to survive. Burns the one, and then has the second one, throwing it straight away. Does the Gallade burn the second shield? Ladies and gentlemen, nope. I mean, yes, I asked there's 2 questions in my head and I answered the wrong one. But swapping into the Galarian Stunfisk now, Medicham is able to swap in to take it down. And again, the opponent stops tapping. CO told me that it was because they were like, yeah, this one's a GG's. I think it probably still worth fighting at this point because Gallade is going to be able to get those charge moves off pretty quick smart. But yeah, they figured it was GG's. That Ice Punch alone did a whole lot of damage. So I think CO is just tentatively taking down the Gallade, and that is GG's. The opponent decided to not play a third one, so that is GG's for the whole tournament. And CO is a beast, takes the sweep, the whole 4-0, and that is GG's on the whole tournament. So thank you to CO is a beast for sharing this tournament. Again, super congrats because like he's doing really well. Up in that, like I think he's ranked 102 in the world as I'm currently recording this. So yeah, massive shout out to him. Thanks for sharing. And yeah, thank you for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, especially that subscribe one because we are doing that daily content through December. Whole lot of stuff to come and see. So yeah, subscribe for that so that you know what's going on. And I don't think I ever say it, so but the notification bell is like also there, but that's going to be a lot of notifications in December, so up to you I guess. But yeah, I don't have the images because I was recording this in a little bit of a different way. This was the first time that I recorded like based on someone else's YouTube videos, and I just sped up their YouTube videos, so I don't have the images here again, which I think is like probably like my new outro, just saying that I don't have the images and then just saying it. So yeah, thank you for watching. Thank you to our patrons, Nightfall brajSF, -10, or Yahwertle, SqeakyNL, charizardyong, and primativedoc for supporting the channel on Patreon, and also to SaddyPoo for my Twitch emote, Raid44Maze for the 500 subs, primativedoc, Melgood, and also for the subs on Twitch. And yeah, I did say in like one of the last videos that I was going to try and shorten these outros down because it was hurting, like it was actually hurting the channel because of how long they are, and like people drop off fairly quick on the outro, so it like reduces watch time and stuff. But I'm clearly breaking that right now, so I might like condense the images for Patreon and Twitch into like one image in the future. We'll just have to kind of see what happens on that front. But yeah, I'll see you in the next Nightfall Cup video. Bye.